Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Mostly Photo is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com. This is Mostly Photo with Lisa Bettany and Leo Laporte, Episode 2, recorded March 29th, 2011. Mobile Photography. Mostly Photo is brought to you by Ford and the 100% reinvented Ford Explorer. With its thoughtful design, room for 7 passengers, impressive cargo space, best-in-class V6 highway fuel economy, and available sync with My Ford Touch, the 2011 Ford Explorer is perfect for your adventures with the family. For more information and to RSVP for our upcoming photo walks, visit mostlyphotoadventures.com. It's time for Mostly Photo. I'm Leo Laporte.
And I'm Lisa Bettany.
Hey, Lisa Bettany. And
Hey.
look who's here in the beautiful Skyposaurus, the one and only Trey Ratcliff from Stuck in Customs.
Hi, guys. What's up?
What's up? How many years old is that commercial?
It's
Way old. So, Lisa, what are we talking about today?
So today I want to talk about mobile photography because sometimes the best camera
It's the one you got.
is the one that you've got.
Yeah.
And, I just had an excellent photo walk, and there were actually some people there with just iPhones. And they sort of came up to me and said, how do I get more out of my, mobile photo pictures? And so that's what I want to talk
Did they actually do the photo walk with iPhone?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It is cool. And I think that if you don't have a DSLR, then, and you still are really keen on taking photos, there's no reason why you can't take them with your phone.
You walked around down by the ferry building in San Francisco, and we had about 50 people come, which
was
is really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
There's pictures of people taking, that looks posed to me because they're all taking pictures in different directions. I love that. I think that's so fun. And you were able to share some tips with people as they were taking. And by the way, I like this. A lot of point and shoots, some fancier cameras, but I love it that people are using whatever they've got.
Yeah.
The mobile photography.
Yeah.
So a real quick plug, and we'll talk more about it in a little bit. But we are going to be doing another photo walk soon. Mm-hmm. Kind of excited. If you go to the website that Ford has set up, which is mostlyphotoadventures.com. You can sign up RSVP with that and be part of the next photo walk.
Yeah, it's a great
Vegas.
it's a great time to meet other photographers and really get inspired. And hopefully, I'll point out a few things that you didn't necessarily know, or you can learn from other people. And often, there's always someone who has a similar camera, or where you can ask specific advice. What lenses do you like, etc., or just come out for the fun and really get shooting. Because I know there's someone that came up to me and said, I bought this brand new camera and I've taken 2 photos on it.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah,
Take pictures.
Take pictures.
It's not that you don't want to. I have all this equipment, but I'm busy. Life impinges.
And I think the whole thing with mobile photography is it's not so much about capturing the most amazing pictures. It's about capturing moments.
Right.
And moments, capturing moments are really important, especially if you want to share those with your friends and family if you're traveling or...
Actually, the last time I saw you, Trey, was a photo walk. You had a bunch of people on that Austin photo walk.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people, and I think if anyone's in that Vegas area, you should definitely join Lisa because, what you were saying, Lisa, some people have only taken a few photos with their camera, and not everyone is a self-starter when it comes to their camera. They like to, maybe it's like going to aerobics class or like a steps class. If they just go to it,
right,
then they start taking pictures. And so that's kind of what your photo walk would be like, is an intro steps class.
And that's why I dressed like this, because if you're not watching, I'm wearing my photography gear. No, when I put this shirt on, this is a new Scotty Vest shirt, and it's kind of a taupe. And so I thought I should put on a safari hat to go along with it. But you don't have to do that for a photo walk, unless you're in Africa.
No.
Well, let's talk about our subject of the day. I'll tell you what we're going to do is Lisa's going to give us her 3 mobile photo tips. Trey, if you want to pitch in, and give us some afterwards, you can too, because I'm sure. Do you have a camera phone, Trey, that you use?
Yeah, I think mobile photography is very important. I've got all kinds of tips. Most of my tips revolve around creativity and using the mobile phone to kind of find your creative self.
I think that's probably true of you too, Lisa, right?
Yeah, I kind of want to focus more on more technical tips, because I think a lot of people, sort of forget technique a little bit when they're using a camera phone, because they sort of, they're not using it as a camera. They're sort of like holding it like a phone. So, my first tip is to pay attention to how you're framing your photo. You have, a beautiful display. You can see what's in your frame. So make sure that you don't have any, tree branches coming out of the side, or, you're cutting off the top of people's heads, people's arms and extremities. And, you can really use seeing, your full screen to your advantage. And one thing that is sort of a basic compositional rule is the rule of thirds. And I don't know, Trey, do you sort of pay attention to the rule of thirds when you shoot?
What is the rule of thirds?
I don't like the rule of thirds. I think
he likes the rule of 1 and 1.3, I think is.
No, it's 1 to 1.68, 618.
That's a lot harder to say.
Which is close.
Let me just describe what the rule of thirds is. So the rule of thirds states that an image is divided into 9 equal parts.
Okay.
Right? So and a lot of cameras have grids on them that show this grid. So it sort of states that, the important compositional elements. So if you had a person in the shot, or you had, a building, that you would want to put that sort of where these points intersect, and to have the image sort of mainly on 1/3.
So I'm using Camera Plus here on the iPhone, and that's an example of having it's Lisa's app. Might as well use it. Has the rule of thirds. But Trey, you actually say that this is only an approximation of the true rule, which is the golden mean.
Yes, I think the golden mean, the golden ratio, is the best, and it's not that far off from the rule of
Close
thirds.
enough.
And I think the rule of thirds is one of these things that has been accidentally passed down from teacher to student over time, and it sounds good, and it's better than putting things in the center, no doubt, but it's not quite the perfect spot. If you look at anything that's considered beautiful, whether it's architecture or the formations of petals on a flower, or even some of the greatest photos of all time, you'll find that the most important elements do line up at a ratio of 1 to 1.618.
So it is nature's
0.33.
It's nature's rule. It's not something some guy made up.
Yeah, and if you're in Lightroom, by the way, people that use Lightroom, you can actually cycle through those overlays, and there is a phi overlay. It defaults to the rule of third, but if you keep cycling through, you'll get to the phi golden ratio overlay.
So you can. This is something you don't do in a camera phone, but you can, if you're in Lightroom or Aperture, re-crop, rearrange your photo.
You can do that. I think that's something that a lot of people don't think of, is if you get really great shots, you can, process them afterwards. You can process them within.
I'm sitting with the king and queen of post-processing. Trey and Lisa both big HDR guys. That's what we talked about when Trey was on last time.
Yeah, obviously I use my own app and process my images and crop them. But I think, somebody asked me, is like, oh, well, do you think it's okay to, take your photos from your iPhone and, bring them onto your computer and, Photoshop them? Like, why not? Sometimes you get the most amazing moments with your iPhone because you can take it places that you can't take your camera. So if you get amazing shots, crop them, do what you need to. And if you don't get that perfect frame, or if you're taking street photography and, you get a car that's just coming into the frame, crop that out, and it'll make your pictures so much better.
Trey, help me out here, because I'm trying to find the golden mean setting in Lightroom here, and I'm not sure if I've...
There's a button you can press. I think it's T or L, and it toggles through all the different presets of the overlay.
Okay. See, that's one of the things that's a little tricky about Lightroom, is they have a lot of hidden buttons. in here. So
Yeah, you'll never find that one.
let me pick a
There's
picture.
some hotkey though.
Here's a little picture of my wife and not our baby, some baby. So I'm going to press.
Here's a picture of your wife stealing a baby. From
Yeah, apparently stealing a baby. Do I have to go into develop and then press T or?
Pull up the crop tool and drag the crop tool across it.
So this by default, I don't know if you can see it, but the hairlines on here are in fact thirds. So I can change this to perhaps have a different cropping on here and have the rule of Hoobie Doobie.
Golden mean.
Rule of the golden moo. All right, I get it anyway. So I would move.
Like Lisa says,
would you say move?
Fine.
Would you say move the kid's eyes so that they're somewhere else? Surely not.
This is a different kind of photos because in this photo you have two subjects.
Right.
You have two people.
Right.
And so the rules of composition are a little more shifty in that situation. If you just have one object like a coffee cup or a stop sign, it's a lot more simple.
Now, where would I put the eyes on the thirds? Would I put the nose?
I usually put the eyes.
Put the eyes?
Yeah, the eyes.
Yeah. Okay. That's where that's the money in any portrait is the eyes, and you want to draw the focus to that point.
And to reiterate, it's okay to import your iPhone photo and do that.
Yeah.
Why the heck not? But I bet you guys have both worked long enough that you kind of don't even have to see those guides anymore, that you kind of know where that...
Yeah.
You just eyeball it.
Yeah. But the one thing that I did want to mention with, portrait shots, especially when you have, an iPhone, you have to know that the iPhone isn't taking, it's not a 35 millimeter sort of focal length. It's more like a 28 millimeter focal length, which is really wide, and it often makes people look not so great.
Especially if you're close in there and their nose gets really big.
Yeah, if you're close up, you can get warping, forehead warping and nose warping. So
that actually explains a lot, because I take a lot of pictures of myself with my iPhone. And I tell you, there's a lot of warping going on in there. I really think that's significantly. My nose isn't that big, is it? I don't think so. Anyway.
So that's definitely one thing that
way too much warping
that you can do to improve portrait shots is just sort of take a step back
off.
And if you need to, you can crop in a little bit more, and don't use the zoom.
So tip 1. Consider framing your composition.
Framing your shots. Notice background elements, especially if you're shooting portraits. Watch out for things coming in frame. Pay attention to not cropping off, limbs and that kind of thing. Just everything that you pay attention to in normal photography, sort of carry with you through your iPhone photography. And if you do have a grid on the iPhone app that you're using, it's something that I use to sort of be more aware of what's going on.
Tip 2.
Tip 2, low light is one of the biggest problems.
Low light is bad light.
It's bad light. And we talked about that last episode on how to deal with that with a DSLR. Now, obviously with, a camera phone, you can't do any of those things. You can't increase your ISO. You can't change your aperture. So
I took a picture of you here in the studio just a minute ago, and it feels like we've got a lot of light here, but it came out extremely grainy, and it was kind of disappointing as a result. And of course, this is with the iPad, but I don't know if you could see, but there's just a ton of grain.
Yeah, so
it would have been better with more light, huh? So
yeah, the two main problems are noise and blur. And for noise, really, the only remedy is getting more light.
Right.
And, it's not always an option, but, if I'm in a dark restaurant, I will physically, take the candle and put it closer to my subject.
Right.
Or if I'm indoors, I'll try to move lights. Yeah. I mean, just whatever you can do. That's sort of one of the main, a lot of shots you see from camera phones are from concerts and that kind of thing. And there's really nothing you can do to improve that other than using, your flash. Now, I don't know, Trey, what your feelings are on the flash on the iPhone and whether you use it. It is something you can use for if you're taking pictures of people and you really just need that shot and it's really, really dark and you can't do anything about it, you can use the flash. So Trey, what are your feelings on the flash?
Well, I don't like using the flash because it makes things look unnecessarily artificial. If you're just trying to capture a moment with some friends and not trying to be artistic, then it's fine. But otherwise, it can really mess things up. And one of the people's biggest problems with the flash is they don't realize the distance limitations of the flash, and
Especially on a phone.
Yeah.
it really bothers me when I'm at a sports stadium or someplace where people are really far away. You see all these flashes going off, and
I know. It cracks me up. I was at a Neil Diamond concert. Well, no, something like a Neil Diamond. All right, I was at a Neil Diamond concert, and Neil comes out on the stage, and the place lights up.
Yeah.
But all you're doing is lighting the back of the guy's head in front of you because you can't reach Neil.
You really have to watch that because that's exactly what will happen, and you're just going to light any foreground element. So in that case, definitely, it's not worth using a flash. The
flash on these phones is probably even shorter. I mean, it's like you might be able to get a foot ahead of you.
I mean, I know some other devices other than the iPhone have better flashes. I don't know if you have an experience.
Some of the Android devices have 3 or 4 LEDs, but an LED flash is still not a very good flash.
So, I mean, use it if you have to, but, another way to sort of prevent, another problem is blur. Obviously, you see a lot of blurry iPhone photos, even photos that are taken, in sort of normal lighting conditions, you'll see a lot of blur. And so, a lot of apps have stabilization built in, so you can, set stabilization and it'll take the picture when your phone is the most stable. You can also set a timer. So if you're taking a picture of yourself, and your friend, you can set your timer to, go off in 2 seconds, and that way it'll be a lot more stable.
There are phone apps, iPhone apps that like ClearCam that will, and you have a stability feature. How does that work, though?
So it's just, you set it, and then when the phone is the most still, like when you stop
is aware of it because of the gyroscope and the...
it will take the shot. So if you have shaky hands, it's something that you can use for that. Also, just like little things like setting it, if I'm, like the Bay Bridge is here and it's dark, but I've got a railing or some kind of wall, I'll set my phone on the wall and I'll set a timer and then take the shot when it's still. You can also, if you're at a restaurant or something, I'll often use like a glass. I'll turn a glass upside down and set my phone on that.
Sure, yeah.
Or you can use, I was reading about, and people said there's like a hand grip technique where you can grip your hand and like.
Sure, that's perfect.
Or, shoot, with 2 hands, like hold your phone as if it was.
You've got some little tripods. These are designed for.
I do, yeah. I don't have the one that I really want, which is the Glyph, which is a lot smaller. But yeah, I mean, these are things that if you're going to a place, you can. It's like got a suction cup, and
that's a Gorilla Pod with a suction
Gorilla
cup.
Pod.
Yeah.
You got your suction cup thing. There's also a tripod
that's from thoughtout.biz, the iPad.
Yeah, this one, and this one's good because like if you do have like both an Android and an iPhone, you can they both fit in. And then you can just, mold it to whatever phone. And it has sort of a tripod attachment. So you can attach it to a regular tripod. So if you're really getting, really hardcore into, camera phone photography, you can get something like this. I looked up a bunch of DIY stuff. And they were epic. I mean,
I have an Owly. You know about the Owly?
Oh, yeah.
That's they say for shooting video, but it would work just as well for a still picture. I should have brought it in. I wasn't thinking about this. It's a heavy piece of metal that you jam your iPhone in. It has a wide-angle lens, so you don't have to use it, but you could it's got threads for other lenses. It comes with little microphones to get better audio. This is for video, but it would also be, I think, helpful. It even has threads, so you could put a tripod in it.
I mean,
That's a Bubo, B-U-B-O, from OWLE.com.
There's so many different tripods that you can get, and they're all sort of reasonably priced. I mean, if you plan on doing sort of this
I
more.
think maybe spend more money on a camera than on a tripod
Yeah.
for your phone.
I mean, it sort of defeats the purpose if you're bringing, if you've got like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
what
gonna
have you
bring this.
gained?
Looks
What have you really
I mean, I'm
gained?
kind of used to having, bags and bags full of stuff with me at all times. But, there have been times when I'll just head out with just my iPhone, and it's so freeing to just sort of get out there. And that kind of leads into tip 3, which is...
Well, before you do that, Trey said something that was kind of, I thought, very important. I didn't want to gloss over it, which is consider what you're taking the picture for. So it may be that if it's just a fun picture of friends and family, you don't care if there's a little bit of grain in it.
Mm-hmm.
Consider what you're using.
There's two kinds of photography. One is just kind of recording your life, and the other is making art. And
it doesn't have to always be art.
It doesn't always have to be art. No, not at all. And a lot of these things that Lisa's showing, they're pretty handy. But when you start carrying a bunch of junk around for your phone, you might as well just get a decent sized DSLR.
Camera.
That's not the point of the show.
Get a freaking camera. No, it's funny because I bought the Owly because we're going to shoot video at NAB. But then I'm thinking, I could use your S95, your Canon, and would get and it'd be fine. So you're right. You can kind of go overboard with doodads for the phone. Nevertheless, I think it's important to note that the iPhone 4 is a great camera. Having it there for pictures of family and friends, for what we used to call snapshots. It doesn't have to be, every shot doesn't have to be fine art. It's a snapshot.
No, but I think that
it doesn't have to be fine art, but you'll notice that now on Facebook, everybody is constantly uploading photos, right? And there is a soft social pressure to upload
That's true.
high-quality photos,
That's
photos
true.
that are slightly better than your friends' photos, so that there's a little bit of a soft snowballing competition going on here, which is very kind of cool.
That's why I stopped using Instagram. I swear to God, I felt inadequate because this was fine art that I was seeing here. I can't compete with that.
I think
I got to talk you going back into Instagram, Leo, because it gives a chance for all emerging artists to really kind of explore their craft. Because
I was just taking pictures of what I was up to. Dumb me.
No, but even if you're just showing what you're into, if you take a little bit extra time to compose it, like I follow you on Instagram, and I remember you were you're getting a massage, and you took a picture of the massage table, and you said "Happy Beginnings."
Right.
And I could tell you actually took a bit of time positioning the phone in a certain position so that you got it in the right place.
That's
so
true. That's
there's
true.
not a lot of difference between having it like 20 degrees up and 20 degrees down.
No, but
it
does train you, doesn't it? It trains you to think about that. And so I guess there is some value to that. And I won't be intimidated.
Every time you make that decision, you get better.
Yeah, I won't be intimidated. But if you go to the popular section on Instagram, man, these guys, of course, some of these are SLR photos, right? These are not.
Well, that's the thing with Instagram is they're not necessarily taken on Instagram. You can take them on any device and then upload them.
That's that social pressure you're talking about, Trey, because if you're posting on places, not just Facebook, but places like Instagram, there is pressure, isn't there?
Well, there's pressure, but it's sort of a good pressure in that it drives the little artistic piece of you forward. And you'll notice that all these people that are on Instagram now, this is the first time they're getting really positive, interesting feedback on their photos. They're getting a bunch of likes. And so now these people are suddenly, maybe they missed that Flickr wave back 5 or 6 years ago when everyone was doing favorites and adding comments.
It is the new Flickr, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a great way to get feedback. And you'll notice that sometimes you'll put up a photo that gets 10 likes, and then you might put up a photo that only gets 2 likes. You'll be like, that one's more popular than that one. And then you'll start shooting more what people like, because just like you inherently know what's beautiful, the internet also knows what's beautiful, and it will give you this kind of feedback.
Bastards. and if you want to really be intimidated, go to the popular section, because there's so many good photos.
To me, I feel like Facebook is the new Flickr.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Because so many people are on it. Not only your family and your friends and your coworkers, but other photographers. And it just offers the most simple way to share your photos to everyone you know.
I want to give some credit to John Johnson, who is very active on Instagram doing tips. And he is like you guys. We should get John on at some point because he's like you guys in the same thing. He's encouraging people to take more pictures. And his tips, that's what they're all about. He'll give people assignments. It's really cool. I follow him on Flickr. I'm sure almost all of the Flickr users are aware of him. But if you're not, look for John Johnson. He does some really interesting stuff. Here's one of his. I was just looking for one of his Insta tips. He puts a little thing across the bottom so you can find it quickly, and then he talks about just various tips. And most of the stuff he does is with a camera phone. So similar to this, it's an inspirational moment. All right, you talked me into it, Trey. I'll
no, it's
come
good
back.
because as people get more creative on Instagram or any of these sharing networks, once you hit that rhythm, you start to see a little bit into people's souls.
Yeah.
And for example, I follow all these people I don't even know in real life on Instagram. I follow this girl in Japan.
Yeah.
And just through her photos,
I.
I've gotten a little bit of a crush on this girl because she just takes the most amazing photos of the simplest things.
Yeah.
She might aim the camera up at some trees, and she just has this sort of Fibonacci rivulets of tree branches that go up into the sky. And there's something just silently beautiful about this. And she does it again and again and again. And I don't know anything about her, but I'm just kind of fascinated by these things that she sees that I think I notice a lot of little details here and there, but she does in a slightly different way. And it's really interesting to explore.
It's good training. I agree with you.
I've definitely noticed that. I started a sharing site, Mostly 365, where I encourage people to share a photo every day. And I go and I look at these photos every day and just seeing people's lives. I remember sort of 3 or 4 years ago when I started my blog, and I was looking for other blogs to follow, and there really weren't that many. And just getting a glimpse on someone's life in a different country is so appealing. And that's sort of what I love about mobile photography, is that truly everyone has the ability to do this and share this. And that's what I really want to encourage people to do, is instead of sitting on these photos that you take every day, share them with us. I mean, even if it's just a seemingly mundane shot to you, to me it's something interesting because it's something I've never seen before maybe. And
look at that shot. That's an Instagram shot, and I'm pretty sure a camera phone shot. That's just amazing. People are really, there's a lot of creativity. There's a lot of text. Oh, it's an Italian. That's the other thing is, as you said, Trey, these are people all over the world. Don't just follow your friends. My suggestion would be follow some people from the popular section and so forth, because you really do learn. And it's mostly 365.com. Is that free to use?
Yeah. You just have to tweet out your photo and put a hashtag.
It's automatic.
Yeah, put a hashtag mostly 365, and you can like pictures that you see. And
so, and I can go back. This is kind of cool. I can go back day by day. This is almost like the day in the life, only it's every day.
Yeah.
Look at this, some very professional stuff in here.
And a lot of it are just people. I mean, some people just take a picture of their shoe every day. I mean, it's like whatever you want to make of it. It's just the fact that you're doing it. And I think a lot of people get intimidated when they first sort of get into photography and they see all these amazing pictures and they look at their pictures and they're, oh, well, my pictures are no good. But it's not about that. It's
yes, it
what's
is.
what.
It is. I feel terrible.
No.
My pictures are so mundane. Don't you feel like they're mundane sometimes? Let me ask you guys. You guys are pros. You must sometimes look at your pictures and go, "Boy,
I never like my photos."
Okay, see,
I see all the faults
flaws
in them.
Do you force yourself anyway to?
I force myself to post them, and when I post them, and then I receive feedback, and I get encouraged. Yeah, I become sort of a stronger person for doing it. It's so easy to just sort of keep them all to yourself and sort of look through them and be, oh, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. Well, just post them. I mean, look at the sheer volume of pictures we see every single day. Why can't your shot be one of them?
Yeah. Trey, you feel the same way? You look at your pictures sometimes and go, why me?
Why me?
No, because your pictures are uniformly gorgeous. You never take a bad picture.
No, no, no. Every day I post a new photo on the blog, and that takes a long time. And I write about it. This is a lot of very hard work to keep this blog going every
I don't know
single day.
how you do it.
It's very hard, but this is the path that I've chosen. But it's the kind of hard work that I love. Now, that one photo that you see every day usually is pretty darn good. But what you don't see are the thousands of photos that I did not choose to put up. And I think this process of self-curation is very important. We're all kind of these internet tech bubble type people, right?
Right.
And we have we understand what curation is on the internet, but the curation word really comes from a curator of a museum, and it's their job to choose which 50 photos to hang in the museum out of the thousands that are available. And I think each person should become the curator of their own museum and put up the best of the best. And just that process of self-curation will inevitably lead you to a process of creating better and better and more beautiful photos.
So a photo a day. Everybody, you all must commit to it.
I don't think you should take a new photo every day.
No. This is Trey's photo today, the gate in Malibu. Just gorgeous. But now you didn't probably take that today.
No, I took that a couple weeks ago in California.
So you go through pictures that you took a while ago and you pick one each day.
That's right.
Yeah. 685 so far.
I think.
But that leads to your tip number 3, which is take lots of pictures.
Take lots of photos.
Yeah.
Just as Trey was saying, even my iPhone photos, for every one photo that I post, I've taken 10 not so great ones.
Right.
And, really sort of committing to a shot. A lot of people sort of just, they'll see a sunset and they'll be like, okay, just one snap and we're done. But really sort of exploring different angles, and especially if you're dealing with people, like getting the perfect expression takes a lot of shots, and taking sort of, 10 to 1 is sort of a nice place to be, but
it could be worse. I'm 1,000 to 1. No, seriously.
So, Lisa, let's see all the rejects of that lollipop photo that you took.
No.
Trey, now you're just being
If you really
prurient.
want to teach us,
You're just being prurient.
There was one where the Pokemon was on the eye. But certainly, self-portraits. Oh, gosh, I don't even know how many I probably took of that. Some were out of focus. Some were just, absolutely dreadful. But
that's a hard one because you are not behind the camera when you're doing a self-portrait.
Yeah.
So you do take far more than 10 to 1 when you're doing a self-portrait.
But I really do take a lot of iPhone photos, and
I was going to say you could probably have taken that lollipop photo with an iPhone even. Really.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. The tricky thing with the iPhone is that it does have that front-facing camera, but it's so bad.
It's not as good as the other one?
Yeah, it's really...
So an iPhone has 2 cameras. It has one in the front, and then it has one in the back, and this is like 10 times better.
Yeah, it really is.
It's 5 megapixels compared to 1.
It's harder. If you can see yourself in the photos,
right.
Obviously you can take a better photo. But, getting back to my point about taking lots of photos, and the one great thing about a camera phone is you don't get in trouble for shooting in all kinds of places. I get yelled at on a daily basis for having my 5D anywhere. Just, what are you doing? Why do you have that camera? What do you, but when you have a camera phone, you can
just a tourist.
You can literally sneak in and take shots of almost any place. And it's really freeing. And sometimes you get better shots that way, especially if you're doing street photography. Sometimes you can capture the shots, you can get at a really low angle. You can just hold it by your side and capture these sort of really nice moments that you wouldn't be able to get if you approach someone with a big camera.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna sell all my gear. And I'm just going to use the iPhone, and I'll post a picture a day on mostly365.com and Instagram. I pledge to you. You want to buy a old 5D Mark II?
No, come on.
I'll keep it. You talked me into it. We're going to take a break. Lisa Bettany is here, moslylisa.com. And, of course, Trey Ratcliff, stuckincustoms.com. 2 good places to get lots of photography information. And don't forget, mostly365.com. And all I have to do is put a hashtag.
Hashtag mostly365.
And it will just automatically go there.
And you can post it on anything. You could post it on Instagram, and it will...
It will take it from Instagram?
Yep. Plixie or
so I
ClipPic or
So
anything.
I can use Instagram.
Yeah.
Make sure I tweet it with the Mostly 365 hashtag, and you'll suck that picture right in here.
Yeah, and it gives other people a chance to sort of have a daily glimpse into people's lives, and they can like them, or
This is a really neat idea.
it's just it's
glad you
it's
did
a
this.
friendly idea.
Yeah.
It should be a really friendly place, and there's no nastiness there. There's no nasty commenting.
Well, there's no commenting.
Yeah.
It's nice to have comments like on Instagram to get some feedback, but you're right. Sometimes the comments
Sometimes
can be
it's just nice
discouraging.
it's nice to look at things without mean comments.
How'd you like to go on a photo adventure, my friends? You can. We're doing another photo walk. These are so much fun. This one I'm going to be on, along with Lisa Bettany. This edition of Mostly Photo brought to you by Ford and the 100% reinvented Ford Explorer, perfect for your adventures on the road. If you, let me tell you, I am a big fan, as you know. I have my Mustang. I'm a big fan of Ford vehicles. And we're getting an Explorer. We're going to take an Explorer down to NAB, and I can't wait. The new 2011, completely redesigned, beautiful, clean, and modern. It looks both refined and rugged at the same time. You feel like, you'd be fine going to the opera in it, but if you're going to be going off-road on a Mostly Photo adventure.
So you're leaving the Mustang at home.
It's not really ideal.
It's not very comfortable.
For a photo adventure.
It's not
It's
the most
fun to
comfortable.
drive. Have I taken you for a ride?
I've ridden in the back all the way.
Really? Dane rode you
Dane,
up.
drove Andy and Akko and I from
And you were in the
SFO.
back seat?
Yeah, it was a bit
I'm so
bumpy.
sorry.
So we got a lot more room in the
we
Explorer.
got to get the Explorer. That's the thing. Next time the Explorer, it is good looking. When you sit inside, the interior is a great, comfortable place, like your living room for you and your family. They've given an incredible amount of thought to detail and exceptional craftsmanship in everything you see. Lots of room, too. Ample seating for you and your passengers, Lisa. Sorry. Cargo space, too. You got to have that gear, the camera gear in the back. There are 3 rows of seats, room for up to 7. And if you fold down those second and third rows, you can get up to 80.7 cubic feet of space. And, of course, that great standard 3.5-liter V6 engine with 290 horsepower, 255 foot-pound of torque, towing capacity of up to 5,000 pounds. Mikkel Oland, actually, when he would go around to county fairs, would tow his darkroom around with him.
Wow.
If he'd had this Explorer, man, he could have lived it up. The 2011 Ford Explorer, best in class, 25 highway miles per gallon. You got to love that. And that four-wheel drive system. And don't forget the amazing My Ford Touch. That's sync on steroids. I mean, this thing, they've got, you talk to your car, but it responds to touch controls, voice commands, entertainment, climate control, phone, navigation. You've got 2 little screens behind the steering wheel. You've got the big LCD on the center column, the 8-inch touch screen in the stack. It is amazing. The 5-way switches on the steering wheel. Never take your hands off the wheel or your eyes off the road. Don't forget, we're going to have another photo walk coming up in Vegas. It's a part, we're going to be there for NAB, and so this is part of that Monday. It says, wait a minute. It says on the website, we'll have to fix that. It says Saturday, Monday. I don't think there's such a day. I believe we're talking Saturday, April 11th.
I wish Mondays felt like Saturday.
Saturday, Monday. No, it's going to be Saturday. It's Monday. Not Saturday. So take the Saturday out. That was the old one. I think they got left in. Monday, April 11th, 7 p.m. We're going to meet at the Bellagio. So if you go to mostlyphotoadventures.com, please RSVP because we had 50 people. How many? 55 people, something like that?
Yeah,
last
a
one?
lot. I think even more.
And it really is helpful if we get the RSVPs from you. We're going to meet at the fountains at the Bellagio, 7 p.m. on Monday, April 11th.
And we're going to do night photography.
Take pictures of the fountains and stuff. It's going to be really fun. I'll be there
Bring
too.
your tripod if you have one.
And we're going to stream this one live.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So you'll be on TV too. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah. So bring your funny hat. Where's my safari hat? I'll wear this. I will. So you recognize me? And I will use the chin strap.
You really need some blinking lights for Vegas. Maybe a
And if you come up to me and say, "Good eye, mate," I'll give you a twit sticker. How about that? All right. It's going to be a lot of fun. April 11th, Monday, 7 p.m. at the Bellagio. Come visit us. Trey, you're invited to. You're probably not going to the National Association of Broadcasters show. It'll be fun.
By NASA to go do one of the final shuttle launches.
I'm going there too. Maybe.
You are.
There's a podcast that covers these launches called Space Vidcast, spacevidcast.com. And they said, Leo, we're going to save a seat for you at the last launch, which is not actually the one you're going to, because that one's in, I think, late June or early July.
Yeah.
This is the
So
last,
you're gonna go to
last
the very
launch.
last
The
one.
very
cool.
last launch. So you're going to take pictures at the launch?
Yeah, I'm going to take a bunch of pictures. I'm going to, in
You're
fact,
three.
take
You know,
another
you're
camera.
3 miles away.
I'm going to be 3 miles away in the media area, but I'm going to take another camera, put it close enough so that it gets melted down.
Oh my gosh!
And then I'm going to have this this special card in there that is all covered with steel, so that I can still get the data out of the camera after the camera's
Are you
been
crazy?
destroyed.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Now, okay, so you're going to get some close-up pictures using that. What kind of camera are you going to allow to be melted?
Well, I don't know. Probably an old D80 or a D70 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
That's good of you to sacrifice that. I have a D70 you can borrow if you want. Actually, have, because I won't get it back, will I? Little slag heap, little puddle, little plastic
No, it's a
puddle.
one-way ticket. And then
Now, when you're 3 miles away, what kind of lens do you use for that?
I'm just going to go big and fast. I've got two cameras, a D3X and a D3S.
Yeah.
The D3X shoots at 24 megapixels, and the D3S is half of that. And I'll probably put, 500 millimeter and go as low as I can on the f-stop. I don't have those lenses, but I'm gonna borrow them from Borrow Lenses.
You rent them.
Yeah, rent them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell them you're going to put it next to the rocket ship.
No.
No, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing. I know. I know.
The $5,000 lenses, but I will melt down the little camera though.
So, how many millimeters is that $5,000 lens?
Oh,
It's like 1,000 millimeters. A lot of millimeters. Wow.
Yeah, a lot
Very
of millimeters.
I actually saw some of those lenses at the Olympics. They had sort of I got to go behind the scenes at Canon, and they had all those lenses, and they were pretty sexy.
Yeah.
But we're talking about iPhone photography.
Yeah, this is the exact opposite. The exact opposite.
You can still
tape
take
a 500
snaps.
millimeter lens to your iPhone.
That is actually one of the most frustrating things about a camera phone is if it is an event that's far away, a sports event,
Yeah.
a building, anything, they're really only for close-up, aren't they? I mean, you cannot...
You really got to move your body close to the action.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only thing to kind of keep in mind. Even like beach photos or sunsets, you just can't.
But if you are at a launch, there's something so satisfying about just posting that photo immediately. Like you could just take that photo,
Right.
post it, and it could be out. And a lot of even news sources are using
Sure.
mobile phone photos for news. Like they're the first photos that come out of any sort of major news event.
CNN iReport is on Instagram now. You can follow them on Instagram. So my suggestion, if you're in something like that where you're not going to get a great shot because it's so far away, take pictures of the people taking pictures or something nearby.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a picture of the action. It's not going to
scene.
be great, but capture
the
sort of what's
scene.
happening around
That's
it. Yeah.
fun. So do you want to do a DIY next, or do you want to do
I want to
audience
do
questions?
what's in Trey's bag.
What the hell's in your bag,
Because
Trey?
we've been very Canon centric here, so I wanted to give some.
Trey
give
did
some
mention the N-word.
Nikon love.
Yep. He did
You
mention the
have been
N-word.
Canon centric, you guys. What's up? Nikon is fantastic.
No, in
Actually,
fact, I would have, believe me, I would have a D3 if I could afford a D3. And I had the arm muscle
Yeah, they're
to lift it.
beastie.
No, actually, Nikon doesn't pay me or anything. I just grew up with Nikon, and that's what I love, and I know the system, so I just stick with it. But I don't think there's a dime's worth of difference between Nikon and Canon.
Oh, there is.
So Trey, show us your main beastie.
Okay, you want to see the bag, or do you just want to see some goodies out of the bag?
I have my Nikon. I just went and got my Nikon just to prove that I am not an utter Canon
right.
bigot. This is the D70 that I said you could melt.
Oh, come on.
But you know what?
Look at that.
Now, this is actually, that was my first DSLR. I still have a great love and affection for this camera. The reason it's here, it's our studio camera. So we're going to take
Right.
pictures. I mean, it's not exactly, I can't remember how many megapixels.
It's a great camera to start
is.
on for sure.
Yeah, and if, how many years old is this? Look at the back of it. Look at the size of that LCD. It's
No,
not,
the D70 is great. I used the D70 to take that photo of the fireworks in Austin that ended
There you
up
go.
in the Smithsonian.
So there you go.
So D70 is great. It actually proves that any camera can take an amazing photo,
Right.
including mobile phone cameras like we're talking about today.
You know, it's an interesting use for this. Bruce Dale, who is a great photographer, National Geographic for years, took his D70. Of course, he doesn't shoot with the D70 anymore. I think he also shoots with the D3, as I remember. So he's a Nikon shooter as well. But he sent it to a company in Washington State that takes out the sensor and turns it into an infrared camera. Actually, it's not a question of taking out the sensor. The sensor is already an infrared sensor. It's just changing the filters in it. And he takes some beautiful infrared shots, including a shot. You talked to Trey about getting one of your shots in the Smithsonian. He has a shot at Arlington. He took an infrared shot of the graves and the trees that's just stunning, and it is a giant panorama on display at Arlington National Cemetery. Cool. So you can do some, and that's with the D70. You can do some amazing shots. So that's two museums.
So you have just one kicking around, just.
I keep waiting for that great shot to go into the. I'm hoping to get in the Museum of Modern Art, maybe. Since we're talking. So do you carry the D70 body or anything like that around with you, or what do you have a second body you carry around with you?
Yeah, I take two cameras with me. My main camera is the Nikon D3X. That's my main one that I keep on the tripod most of the time. And then my backup camera, my second camera, is the Nikon D3S. So I carry two big professional bodies with me all the time.
What's the difference in the X and the S?
The X is 24 megapixels. Okay, so huge. The D3S is only 12 megapixels, but it also shoots a lot faster.
Right.
It's a lot better for sports or quick action. The D3S is even better at low light. It has a better sensor on it. It also does video. So there's a lot of differences.
So what's your sort of main, what lenses do you have on your bodies at all times?
Well, on the D3X, I have one of two lenses on most of the time. I either have the 14 to 24, which is a wide-angle lens, and there's a lot of landscape architecture photographers that love this lens. It's fantastic. Then my other big lens that I use a ton now is the 28 to 300, and it's got a huge range. It's not that fast, but I don't care about a fast lens because I'm usually on a tripod. And when you're on a tripod, you can let that shutter stay open for as long as you want to collect the necessary light without any fear of shake.
And I felt Trey's guns, and they're pretty spectacular.
Yeah, those are heavy cameras.
Because he has it like on a tripod.
Yeah.
I take mine off, and I have a strap, and but he carries his
camera and a tripod,
and he leads with it into crowds
into
and
battle.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I do use it to clear the crowd like Spartacus.
How about you?
So what sort of, since we're talking about mobile photography, what do you use to take pictures when you don't have your big cameras with you?
Well, I'm an Android user. Although I have I use my wife's iPhone a lot to take pictures, but I also have an
What do you do? Do you say, "Honey,
Touch.
give me your phone, quick"?
So I use the Android a lot for mobile.
Which Android do you like?
I got one from Europe, an unlocked one. I have a HTC Desire.
Oh, the Desire's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great phone.
Not the greatest
beautiful
camera
screen.
though. You like the camera? Because I essentially have the similar one, which is the Nexus One, is kind of an earlier version of the Desire, but the camera's not super good.
Well, it's good enough for mobile photography. And when it comes to mobile photography, I'm mostly interested in the subject matter, in the composition, in the shapes and the contrasts that are there in the frame.
Right.
And you don't really care whether it's an 8 megapixel or 4 megapixel camera, because 99% of these are shared online and people never see them bigger than 500 pixels across.
Well, that's true.
So
yeah.
as long as it looks good enough at 500 pixels across, that's all you want in a good mobile shot. There's going to be 1% of people that zoom into 100% and say, you've got some pixelation down in the lower right-hand corner.
If you had used a higher quality image sensor, you might have gotten a better.
See, now I just took a picture of Lisa with this camera. I mean, it's a typical camera phone picture because it's backlit. There's flaring from the light behind. But, it actually did a better job much better job than the iPad. So there you go. I have to say,
Yeah.
that ain't bad, right? That ain't bad. And I had it with me. Yeah, and that's the real point there. There's Jason Howell, and there's lunch. So there you go.
A lot of food photos.
We didn't mention that, but that is truthfully what most people take pictures of most of the time.
Cats, kids, and food.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to get people to stop using these dirty filters on their food because it always makes the food look kind of disgusting.
No, none of those 70s filters, please, on your food.
Yeah.
Lisa, do you have a food filter on Camera Plus?
We do have a food filter on Camera Plus.
God.
It actually it warms things up, so it tries to get rid of that icky sort of
that greenish
fluorescent
tinge.
nasty light.
Yeah. Very cool. Is there one piece of gear, Trey, that no matter how much money I threw at you, you would not give up?
Well,
besides the camera. Let's not use the camera because we know that's obviously your most valuable possession.
probably my tripod, which is better than yours.
Yeah.
Do you have it with you? Can you show us?
Hey.
Come on.
All right, what do you got? So I showed off my fancy Gitzo.
People asked about another alternative to that one.
There are a number of Gitzo clones and knockoffs. Let's see what Trey has.
Yeah.
He's got a Gitzo, it looks like. What is that?
So check this out.
Yeah.
Now, I went to Argentina on this 40-kilometer hike through the Andes, and I was with these 5 Russians. And every one of these Russians had this same tripod, and they were swearing by it. I thought they were crazy until I started using it, and they were absolutely right. This thing is
really
awesome.
What is that?
It's wonderful.
Now, that's a hell of a head you got on there, for one thing.
Oh, thank you.
Not you, the tripod.
Okay. So, for people that don't know about tripods, there's 2 parts to a tripod. There's the legs and there's the head. And they don't have to be from the same company. They're interchangeable, kind of like shower heads.
Right.
Okay. So in this case, they are both from the same company. The legs and the heads are both from Really Right Stuff.
Oh, that's the place. Yep.
Now,
yep.
let me show you first the legs. They're all carbon fiber. These are stronger and lighter than their Gitzo counterpart. And this just came out about 4 months ago. So it's brand new. Everything's machined and built here in the U.S. Not that that necessarily matters, but they do take great pride in all the machining and everything. So here's the cool thing about the head. If you notice, everything is angled off, so cores don't get caught on it. It's very sleek. Nice. It's very nice. Now, this thing, a simple twist, allows you to move this head around very smoothly, and then another very simple twist will tighten it like a rock. And then it's rock solid. And this thing doesn't move in the wind. It's super light, even though it's so big, and it's a lifesaver. It completes me.
Yeah. Bruce Dale used one of their Pano heads and is a big fan of ReallyRightStuff.com. They do amazing stuff. Not cheap, but
what's
well
the price
made.
point on that?
Oh, it's a couple $1,000s.
I got a picture I got to show you. This is of Bruce Dale on the right, Peter Krogh on the left, measuring the lightness of their Gitzos. You see, they're lifting. Wow. Bruce wins. He's lifting his with his pinky. So
it doesn't seem really scientific. I don't know.
This is what happens when photographers get together. They do things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Tiger Woods bouncing a ball on his sand.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same silliness. Yeah, that was a fun trip, and those are 2 of my favorite photographers who we will get on the show at some point. Bruce, 30 years with National Geographic, has some amazing tales to tell.
Okay, you want me to show you some other goodies?
Yeah. Okay, so he would never give up his brand new tripod. What's that?
No. This is an 85 prime. So you might ask, say, Trey, why would you want an 85 prime when you have a 50 prime and all these other things? So
prime means it's not a zoom. It's just 85 and nothing else.
It's only 85, right? Yeah. And it's f1.4. And here's the reason that when I say it, it will make sense, and then you might want to run out and get one. Now, so you guys have probably shot with a 50 millimeter prime. And I'm sorry, Lisa, we're getting away from mobile photography, but it is kind of what's in my bag. And so what happens with this 85 prime is that you can stay outside of this radius of intimacy, in that when you're inside the radius, when you're inside this the area for the 50 millimeter lens, you might notice that people get a little bit uncomfortable, right? Their facial expressions change because they know that you're sort of inside that.
You're in their personal
circle of
space.
intimacy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And when you use this 85, you're back far enough so that people look natural. And you get these subtle micro expressions that can make some magical pictures. It's great for kids. It's great for events. It's great for parties because you can be a little bit on the periphery and still be taking pictures as long as you're not giving off that creepy uncle photography vibe. then you're going to be getting some good stuff.
My son actually insists that I'm about 800 feet away from any event that he's at if I have a camera.
That's actually the same. That's my main portrait lens as well, the 85.
I heard 105. 105 was maybe the exact right photo lens. You think 85 is better than 105?
I mean it's what
Same
I've always.
Ballpark, right? Really?
Yeah. I mean, especially if I'm using like off-camera strobes and stuff, I still need to be close enough.
Right.
And you don't want to be too far away that you're sort of, I mean, you see these fashion shoots where people are using, a 200 millimeter and they're sort of like shouting directions to the model. So you want to be still like close enough that you're able to give directions.
Right.
So here's another goodie that you'll like.
Actually,
it's very cheap.
Make it quick because we're almost out of time.
Okay, this is a bottle cap tripod. And so you can just screw it onto like any Aquafina bottle. And it's tiny.
That's great.
It fits anywhere.
Where do you get that?
I think I got it from Photo Jojo.
Yeah,
right,
Photo
Lisa?
Jojo is a great site for.
I love Photo Jojo. That's where I got my Canon lens mugs.
Yeah, I actually got one like when they came out. Like the Canon guys at the Olympics gave me these mugs.
Yeah, that's where the idea came from. They had them at the Olympics.
Yeah, no,
you got the real deal.
They're very cool, and yeah, Photo Jojo has a bunch of sort of mini tripods and stuff that you can use for your various like point and shoots or
tripod. What a great idea.
Yeah.
Trey, thank you so much for being here.
Sure, you bet. I enjoyed it.
Trey Ratcliff is a great photographer. We talked with him in one of our early shows that I don't think was released as a show, but it must exist somewhere, and we'll find a way to release that as a show about HDR. It was our beta, in fact, I think it was our first episode, our beta episode. But we'll have you back real soon. Of course, you can go to stuckincustoms.com to see his daily photo and to get his HDR videos. Really, really worthwhile training in high dynamic range photography. Thank you, Trey.
Thank you, Leo. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Lisa Bettany, thank you for being here. Don't forget to go to mostlyphotoadventures.com. That's our website.
And come out to the photo walk. And
for the photo walk,
if you can't make it, start your own.
Yeah.
Get your friends, get your family, head out. Start a group, start a Facebook group, and just get out and shoot and start sharing your photos if you don't. I'm watching you.
Lisa's blog is moslylisa.com, but take a look at mostly365.com. I'm going to start tagging my photos.
Yeah.
So I can put mine up there, but only the good ones.
Don't be scared.
Don't forget Camera Plus on the iPhone. It is awesome. It's a must-have. Actually, we should mention Trey's application. Trey's got an application, too. 100 cameras. 100 cameras in one.
Yes.
That's also a great... Boy, there's a lot of good apps out there. That's one of the things that we didn't really touch on, but one of the reasons to use a camera phone is all the apps.
All the apps. That can be another episode.
Another episode.
We're just getting you out there shooting.
That's right. I'm Leo Laporte. You just call me Crocodile Leo. We'll see you next time on Mostly Photo. See, I'm ready. I need the vest.